Thank you, Kate. An ominous day in the Hammer, where the day after Saskatchewan clinched top spot in the West, Hamilton has a chance to do the same thing out east, with Bo Levi Mitchell attempting to lock it down by lighting up an old friend turned foe. Welcome inside the broadcast booth, everyone. Marshall Ferguson alongside Glenn Suter. Jermaine Franklin down the field for us here throughout the afternoon. As we all know, Bo Levi Mitchell, the connection with Calgary, all the rest, he said it's not that big of a deal at this point in his career, but a chance to make the playoffs and lock down first, Glenn.
Yeah, that's what's most important, and the fact that he's having an MOP season. The numbers are outstanding. Maybe most impressive, the touchdown to interception ratio at 32 TDs to just 9 interceptions. It's been the tale of 2 seasons for Vernon Adams Jr. Stamps started 5-2. He was playing at an MOP level. They have struggled, losing 4 straight in the last month, but a couple of big plays in BC maybe get Vernon Adams back to his A game.
Dave Dickinson deciding after winning the coin toss to take the football here to get things going. Maybe that's a message being sent to his entire roster. And Scott Milanovich said he does believe that he has a chance to kill 2 birds with 1 stone here today by getting a victory and avoiding the East semi-final, as we are underway in Hamilton with the return out near the 38-yard line. And Vernon Adams Jr. looking to regain the form of the early season in the red and white.
Yeah, and when I mentioned that about the BC game, I mean, there were a couple of interceptions, and that's been what's really haunted Vernon Adams through this 4-game skid. However, there were also some good things in that BC game, including a couple of explosions that, you know, those big plays down the field where he negotiates the pocket, finds a receiver open, and makes those big plays. That's how he got his nickname. Maybe it's an indication he can find his A game.
Stampeders extremely successful running the football on this year. They look that way and then rip it to the outside as Tevin Jones gets the first touch of the ball game and rolls his way forward. And it's right close to a first down already for the Stampeders. It is a first down. Let's meet the Calgary offense.
Well, Chris Fortin is, to me, a front runner for the outstanding rookie. Was forced in when Bryce Bell was injured early in the season. Has done an excellent job at that center position on the O-line. And Dedrick Mills, coming into the week, was leading the league. Olette and him and James Butler in Vancouver got this 3-way race going on for the rushing title.
These 2 teams meeting earlier this year, all the way back in June. Week number 1 of the season. Here we are in week 19, Thanksgiving weekend, as VA uses the legs, cuts back into the middle, and gets tracked down by a host of tacklers as Philip Osai is right there. And the Tiger Cats defense looks like this.
Well, how about Julian Hauser's game against the Toronto Argonauts with 4 quarterback sacks? Now has 11 on the season. Of course, that leads his team. Devin Veresuk at middle linebacker, another front runner, in my opinion, for Rookie of the Year. And talk about big games. Katsatonis at safety, 3 picks versus the Argo. 3 interception game, a DB's dream.
Yes. And a quarterback's nightmare, as Garrett Daggy went through that last year. Braxton Hill, by the way, getting the start at that weak side linebacker spot. That is a linebacker if I've ever seen one before. The build on that guy is VA uses the legs again. Only had 3 rushing attempts in their first matchup back in week number 1. He's already got 2 in the opening drive here.
Yeah, great fake here to hold the linebackers to Dedrick Mills. So Vernon Adams going to run this fake. He's going to pull it, and look at the flow for the Hamilton defense right to Dedrick Mills, 26, and that gives him some open space. But you see both times in these running plays from Vernon Adams, he's going back into the middle. They know the importance of this game and to snap this losing skid.
Yeah, especially taking the football and seeing VA playing with desperation here on the road. As they emptied out 3 by 3, and Vernon tons of time, thought about throwing twice, now takes off to his right and slides down as a flag comes up at the end of the play.
Just 3-man pressure from Hamilton. That's why Vernon Adams had the time he had, but he took a little too much.
Calgary, number 57. It's a 10-yard penalty. We'll replay first down.
Now that flag came out way late, and it looked like the play extended so long that Chris Fortin, the center right in front of VA, I think he was fine here. A little bit of a double team. They're holding him off. All good here. And then as he broke out to try and run, there was a grab.
Casey Sales called it as well as Ludwig Choquette. Spelling Diedrich Mills empties out the backfield, and the last Choquette to block here in open space as the defense rallies. And what a play, flying to the football outside, as that is Braxton Hill making the play.
Yeah, this is just film study, film work, not panicking, not trying to open up and get back in your back pedal or open up your hips to get deep too quickly into a deeper drop. Wait for the play to develop and then go and close.
Makes sense the Montana guy would be good at wrangling somebody in the open field, right?
Yeah, love it.
Vernon on 2nd and long. Underneath, gets some of the yardage back. And we'll be set up at around the 36-yard line here with 3rd down coming, and the field goal unit, Rennie Paredes off the sideline.
Paredes has been on a roll. Gets some opportunity for points in the opening drive. The Calgary Stampeders, you mentioned off the top, Marshall, won the toss and took the ball. And usually here in this stadium, because of the way the wind comes through here, the coaches are always trying to play the win first if they win the toss. They want the ball and some points early.
Paredes, number 2 all-time at 87.5% field goal rate. And he's 30 of 37 this year. Bit of a low snap. They get it down. And the reliable right leg of Rennie knocks it through the uprights as the Calgary Stampeders take an early 3-0 lead here.
CFL Thanksgiving weekend on TSN is brought to you in part by WestJet. WestJet, the official airline of the CFL, and where your story takes off.
There's Bo Levi Mitchell on the field, ready to roll with his first touch of the football here in week number 19.
Yeah, it's closing in on 5,000 yards passing. That touchdown interception ratio, I mean, that to me is a big reason why you make an argument for him as MOP. 2-horse race right now.
Play action, looks inside, it's picked off. Adrian Green back off the broken leg from earlier this year, and Green picks off Bo Levi Mitchell on his first pass attempt as there's a flag down at the end of the play. And it's in the backfield.
Hamilton, number 69.
They'll decline it.
Will decline the penalty. The result of the play is a 1st down for Calgary.
And what happened here, Suits?
Well, that's the question. Adrian Green had such a great start to the season, playing so aggressively out there. Since he's returned from injury, that aggressive approach has disappeared a little bit, but he sits on this route. I mean, he ran the route for Tim White.
Points off turnovers for the Calgary Stampeders, 5th in the CFL with just 79 on the year. They try to add to that right now thanks to this interception.
Take a look at the concept here, but Bo Levi Mitchell trying not to give it away with an early look. He just kind of turns his hips and opens up with Adrian Green cutting underneath Tim White. That's the one thing that Bo Levi Mitchell's done a great job this year of protecting the football. He's gone 8 games this season without an interception.
It's so strange because the early game scripting for the Tiger Cats has been so good this year, taking advantage of what they expect to see from the early snaps of the opposing defense. Is now off his back foot. A jump ball thrown up by VA as he was just trying to lead Jalen Philpott across the field, and it falls incomplete.
Yeah, and in this circumstance, Marshall, that's a win for the Ticat defense. Get the sudden change in plus territory, and you're holding the Stamps to a field goal attempt. I mean, it is possible 3 points. However, you were in that position after the turnover.
Destin Talbert, the 2nd-year standout out of North Dakota, makes the play that time, and Rennie Paredes comes back out with an even closer attempt. As he knocks this one through as well. And Bo Levi Mitchell, the rare interception in a year where he's been so clean with the football. 1 attempt, 1 pick. We'll see what he has coming up next. The epic career of Bo Levi Mitchell continues to roll along, despite the first passes empty here this afternoon in the hammer. But you see how close he is to Matt Dunnigan, passing and moving up into 8th all-time in CFL history.
Yeah, great teammate of ours and a guy that I played against, and moving up that list. Matt Dunnigan should get it tonight. The top 10.
And Bo already, you know, trying to get after it because he does not take lightly. We talked in this week's Suits about taking care of the football this season. And in fact, that's been the key to their success. As he hands it off inside Greg Bell and going nowhere. And the Calgary defense all over it against this Hamilton offense.
Yeah, 142nd start for Brandon Revenberg at left guard, and all with Hamilton Tiger Cats, and a guy who is a veteran in that group. 1,000-yard season for Keandre Smith, first one for him in his career. And how about Kenny Lawler flirting with some franchise record in touchdown catches? Just needs a couple to tie Tony Champion.
Pretty nice kicks on today as well with a special cause. We'll get to those later on in this game as Mitchell goes into that boundary side, and Lawler makes the grab and will be short of the sticks, but gets his first touch of the ball game after having another stellar performance against the Toronto Argonauts last week on the road down at BMO.
Yeah, this is exactly the way the Calgary Stampeders wanted to start this game on the road. You know, they, I'm sure, would have liked to have finished with a touchdown on the turnover. However, keep the game in their end of the field. Get a 2-and-out in the second series for Bo Levi Mitchell. Great start.
And Nick Constantino hammers this one down as bobbled by Eric Brooks and gets onto it, but just barely. 46-yard punt and rolls out of bounds at the 20-yard line as Dedrick Mills, over his last 7 games, has been held under 70 yards just once. Now is the CFL lead. We'll see what he has when we return. AJ Ouellette putting in some work last night as the Saskatchewan Roughriders ended up clinching top spot in the West Division. Dedrick Mills giving chase. And hey, what's up with all these West Division running backs? the top 4 are all there. Greg Bell in the East sitting here at 5th.
Yeah, still got a chance, both he and Brady Oliveira, to get to that 1,000-yard mark with a couple games to go. And yeah, Dedrick Mills, the run game has not been the problem for Calgary in this 4-game skid. Not even close. They're averaging 127 yards a game over the last 4.
Crazy thing is that Justin Rankin's had a heck of a year as well, but he's been doing it in both receiving and rushing. As the 5th of 5 teams, as this one knocked away, blown up out in the flats. Devin Veresuk, the standout rookie, as he covered down and blew up the play in short order.
So the league this week sent out a list of 112 potential rookies for the Rookie of the Year award, and Veresuk, I think, is one of the guys at the top of the list. You can make an argument for him and what he has meant to this defense from a big play point of view, and that's a big one to get him to second and long.
Dom Rhymes 8 catches for 126 in his last 3 games. Nothing going there thanks to Veresuk. What a massive blow. As now Vier with pressure on gets thrown to the turf.
Nice little change up here from Brent Monson, the defensive coordinator, to bring some secondary pressure from here and really disguise it. That's just basically a linebacker and DB switching responsibilities. So you're going to have a DB go in, and then he's the blitzer. And Vernon Adams didn't want any part of that read. He just saw the blitz coming and decided to hold on to the football.
Bassett tried to flip it. Looked to the right into the boundary and then chucked it all the way back across to the left here, avoiding Isaiah Wood, and it goes for 49 yards with a bit of a friendly roll. But Devin Veresuk, tremendous acquisition in the draft by the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Massive hit here early on. We'll have more on him with Jermaine Franklin down the sidelines when we return. Hamilton Tiger Cats lost by 12 in week 1 against Calgary and then lost to Saskatchewan at home by 5 points. This, perhaps the play that changed their season. With more, here's Jermaine Franklin.
Thanks, Marsh. Absolutely. You know, Devin Varasek has 1 interception this season, but head coach Scott Milanovic said it is by far the most important play of the season because it helped turn it around. As you mentioned, they were 0-2 in a tight game against Montreal when Varasek had that pick 6. I spoke to him briefly before the game, and he said that supplied the confidence he needed to prove that he belonged in the league and could do big plays in the league like we just saw. And Bo Levi Mitchell also confirmed that that play helped him get the respect that he deserved from his teammates as he came in as a fresh rookie Canadian.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jermaine. And yeah, as we see Brett Monson, defensive coordinator, kind of share a laugh and a smile with Varasek as he runs past the bench there as Bo Levi Mitchell looks to use the legs, gets pushed out of bounds. Big collision flying through as Antti Litre, as the Calgary defense looks like this, already with an interception off of Bo Levi Mitchell.
Yeah, Clarence Hicks, 9 quarterback sacks on the season. Big game against BC where he had a pair. You go back to the linebacking core. Derek Moncrief's getting a start, and his stat line is completely full. Leads the team in tackles for losses, and the secondary is makeshift. A lot of injuries. Bailey Devine Scott is starting for the first time at free safety.
Surprised. We were talking about it before the game suits that they haven't tried to take advantage early on of the middle of the field. A deep shot to go after Devine Scott. This time they go underneath. Shamar Bridges, yards after the catch, slides down at the 40, and they convert on 2nd and 8.
Yeah, that first run just kind of loosened things up for Mitchell. Now goes over the middle, just in behind the linebackers to Bridges. See Devine Scott at the top of your screen. He's got a deep route that he's got to track. But yeah, I'd be testing him too.
Why not, right?
Go over and under with a post behind him.
Mitchell lost his feet that time, but gets it outside to Tim White, who breaks 1 tackle, then 2, and finally wrapped up and brought down Markel Lee back in the line. Had a monster week 1 performance against Hamilton, but Tim White elusive on the outside in the screen game here.
Yeah, you just need that first block on the outside. There's Tim White. He's the wideout in this formation, and he needs that 1 block by Keandre Smith, and he gets it right there on Adrian Green. Little stiff arm as Green comes off it, picks up some extra yards.
Gains of 18, then 19 yards on the last 2 for the Tiger Cats. Ball sits here at the 21-yard line. Mitchell looks over the top. Tim White's in the end zone, dives and held on to it. No, he dropped it. They did go after Devine Scott,
yes, sir,
with the deep post.
No, you got to test him for sure to see if he can be influenced. Now, it looks like this is a design call to rob the curl and be shallow, so it's not necessarily his responsibility to be in the deep middle every single defense, but boy, Tim White was wide open in behind and just could not hang on. I'm not sure that Bo can throw it any better.
I'm not sure that Tim needed to jump for it either. It's one of those where you tracking it down, could have maybe run underneath it, but easy to say now in hindsight. As they play 2nd and 10 from the 21, outside going back shoulder this time, incomplete. Off the mark, looking for Kenny Lawler as the coverage supplied by Anthony Johnson Jr.
Some of the there's Lawler on the outside. Deep comeback. Some of the fans here thought that was maybe incidental interference. Accidental interference.
Scott Milanovic with his hand on the flag. Also the probably lowest tech communication of all time here as Milanovic turned around and actually looked up towards us near the coach's booth for Hamilton and just gave him a little roll of the finger saying, yeah, take a look at that one real quick for us if we can. As this one gets knocked through, but it is waiting for more as Milanovic goes back to the tablet and sees what could have been maybe with the Tim White drop touchdown.
I'm not sure if he challenged that he would have got the call. It didn't look like Kenny Lawler got up really complaining that he was tripped there. I think both he and Anthony Johnson went down on that comeback.
Mitchell and Lawler talk it over on the sideline as Vernon Adams Jr. goes back to work. Interesting dynamic developing between these two sidelines right now as well in terms of energy levels, and on a perfect day for football as the rush goes inside for a gain of 5 or 6. Calgary extremely fired up because they've gotten the perfect road start. Hamilton, after that interception, it was low energy, but working their way back into this one.
Yeah, excellent road start for Calgary. I'm not sure perfect. If it was perfect, it would have been 7 off the turnover. Yep. And it would be a 10-3 game right now. But that Hamilton defense in the sudden change scenario held them to a field goal lead now for Calgary, but on the road, yes, an excellent start.
Especially considering the amount of time it's been since Calgary has tasted winning. Just to be up feels pretty good for them at this point. Is down the sideline. Jamal Peters knocks Dom Rhymes out of bounds, but he extends his catch streak actively to 70 games in a row.
Yeah, they activated Dom Rhymes against the BC Lions. It had been 3 or 4 games where he was basically forgotten about, and this is a guy that in this receiving core, I mean, he's got to be one of your first or second reads. I mean, great route runner, tremendous hands, got him going in BC a little bit, had a touchdown.
Yeah, he hands it off inside. Ludwig Choquette, jailbreak into the boundary as the offensive line does their job and just caught Hamilton in the right front to get a big chunk of yards here.
Yeah, Joshua Coker has moved over to play the left tackle for Desmarais, who is injured and on the injured list, and he and Zach Williams just get their blocks one-on-one, open up that hole. That's good blocking up front. Coker was playing right tackle, is now over at the left side.
Just steamrolled the left side as well, cleared that wide open for Ludwig Choquette, who runs through contact again. Draft pick this year for the Calgary Stampeders, 6th round pick. So it's been playing at a high level.
So yeah, so Preston Nichols on that O-line, Marsh gets the start at right tackle, the rookie out of Purdue. And you know, again, take a look at the 4 games that they've lost. It's not been the running game. The guys up front have been opening up holes for Dedrick Mills or Choquette, whoever's been back there. And Mills is dealing with something. Yeah. Not sure what it is quite yet. They're being pretty quiet about it, but dealing with a little bit of an injury.
VA rips this one high and away, incomplete, and wants that throw back on second and medium. Couldn't get anything out of it, so Rennie Paredes has to come off the sideline once again.
Yeah, Brent Monson's got a couple of key stops, or his defense, or this could be a very, very different score with Hamilton chasing it. Remember, the Ticats win in this game this afternoon. They lock up first in the division and home field in the Eastern Final. And as Milt Stegall said before the game, Calgary needs this win for a lot of reasons. A lot of reasons. Their mental health, maybe the most important.
As much as anything else, is now 3 for 3 is Rennie Paredes. Already earlier on in this game with his first of the 3, past Troy Westwood for sole possession of 5th place in CFL history as we near the end of the first quarter, and the explosive Hamilton offense, for the most part healthy, against a really banged up Calgary secondary, and just 3 points on the board right now.
And 1 interception thrown in the very first throw of the game by Bo Levi Mitchell. Adrian Green took that one back, his 5th of the season.
Hard to imagine too for Green. He had 2 picks back early in the season against Toronto, and a couple more before breaking his leg. Was on the injured list for 5 weeks. He's been back for 3. But that is first interception since coming off injury as Mitchell looks over the top. Tim White running free, and this one knocked out of his hands as well. And Anthony Johnson Jr., doesn't matter whether it's Lawler or White, 44 is on it today in coverage.
Well, Mitchell goes right back to him after he dropped the touchdown throw that give him another opportunity to redeem himself. This one is made, though, by Anthony Johnson. That's a strip and a knockdown for him. He just rips it out of there because Tim White has it. And he rips it out before he gets to the turf. Sometimes you drop them. Sometimes the defense makes the plays. They're allowed to win, too.
Absolutely. A great play that time by Johnson. So Bo on 2nd and 10 throws into a tight window. Lawler with the catch radius makes the grab again in front of Johnson. It is short of the marker right now as they'll spot it. Well, they might give him the first down. We'll find out. We return for the beginning of the second quarter. Last 4 games have been split. 2 wins apiece between Calgary and Hamilton. We'll see what they've got today in week number 19. Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for being with us on TSN and CTV. The Hamilton offense being held in control at this point. Just 3 rushing yards. We haven't seen very much of Greg Bell. Bo Levi Mitchell with the interception. As you see, the 1 turnover there. I guess the question now becomes, who's for the Calgary Stampeders? Is this a tremendous beginning, or is this a missed opportunity to really separate yourself early on?
No, when you look at the last 5 weeks, the last month between these 2 teams, this is a great start for the Calgary Stampeders. Exactly what they needed. Get the lead, get the crowd out of it. Not surprised at all that they're going to their run game. And there's some signs here. I mean, this team started out 5-2 on the season. Their defense was not only taking the ball away, but it was scoring. Adrian Green starts this game with a takeaway. They had 2 late interceptions against BC to make that a 1-possession game late a week ago. All good signs that Calgary is finding their game like they had early in the season.
Levi Mitchell on 1st and 10. They did give Lawler the first down on the final play of the first quarter. They try to go back to the running game here, but stacked up and turned around. Once again, Derek Moncrief all over it. You said he's a stat stuffer. There's just something about playing that nickel linebacker, Sam linebacker spot that just puts you in positions to be everywhere.
Well, leading the league in tackles for losses, which is as good as a sack. It's the same thing, really. It's just someone else has the ball in their hands, but you're catching them behind the line of scrimmage. He has the 6 knockdowns. He has the interception, a pick 6 against the Bombers early in the year.
Only 3 yards rushing allowed currently for the Calgary Stampeders as Tim White does make the grab here and wrapped up and caught by Bailey Devine Scott coming down from free safety. Again, it's short of the marker, but they are in plus territory. And it is about a yard, maybe a yard and a half remaining. So decision time here, and the offense will stay on.
Now, the one thing about Devine Scott playing safety is if Bob Slowick, the defensive coordinator, wants to get him in his comfort zone, keep him close to the line of scrimmage. He's played a little of that cover linebacker spot down in the box, so he understands that. You can roll the halfbacks back deep for that deep coverage.
And they won't bring in short yardage as Mitchell stands in and looks to throw on 3rd down. Easy money, Kenny Lawler.
Wow. Lots can go wrong in that kind of play design, but you can't go wrong or you're not going to miss very many when you throw to 89. And we had a great conversation with Bo about his star receiver and Kenny Lawler and his 13 touchdowns and just how great he is. You think of all the great receivers that Bo has played with.
Bob Slowick watches on from high above here, and they go back to Greg Bell, and Slowick's defense continues to stack up the run. Interesting as well that in terms of personnel, they brought in Giovanni Robinson, the massive tight end, Antti Litre, the fullback, and then they just let Bo throw it to Kenny, right? Yeah, it's well, that's kind of the mentality.
That's where he's going to go. I mean, when it's on the line, you know, Kenny Lawler is going to be the #1 read at the very least. And a guy that Bo was very confident in telling us that, you know, there are some guys that you play with that even if he's covered, you're okay with throwing it to him.
Lawler is certainly that guy, and certainly this year is underneath. Tim White having a day, getting tons of targets as he nearly gets the ball ripped away. Tiger Cats fans remembering overtime earlier this year, cringing as they're watching on, but hangs on to it and moves the chains once again.
That's good for Tim White to be able to get back into the flow of things after losing one because of a good play by Anthony Johnson, and then that going back to that first quarter drop in the end zone. But He's seen the ball a couple of times since then.
So Anthony Johnson feels like a guy that's not going to be wearing 44 in future years, right? the coverage skills, I keep thinking he's a weak side linebacker or something. But
well, they've gone through some DBs, so maybe that was all that was left.
Yeah, it's true, but the coverage skills are certainly there. Playing boundary corner here today out of Virginia, as they'll sling it out sidearm from Bo to Tim White and chase down. What a great play by Sean Peterson Jr. that time from rush end out of UCF, as he laid it on Tim White.
Yeah, Flo Rimolade started the season in that spot. They lost him due to injury and Achilles. He's gone for the year. Lorenzo Malden comes in and after one game has an ankle, so they're starting Sean Peterson, that defensive end spot.
It's one of those great motor plays, right? Defensive end, you see a screen, turn, run.
Yep. Got
there, made it, and creates 2nd and 8. Mitchell looks down the middle of the field, pressure on, doesn't know what man is behind him, knocks the football out. It was sitting right there. And Clarence Hicks, ever the opportunist.
Clarence Hicks has got a lot to his game. He's down at the bottom here, and he's in that 2-point stance, coming off the edge. And whether it's a bull rush for a guy who is not one of the biggest defensive ends in the league and could actually play linebacker, really, and has throughout his career in different positions. That was a straight-up bull rush.
Leverage is a heck of a thing, because Clarence Hicks at 6'2", 230 just ran through Barrow, who's 6'5", 317. I know they're just numbers, but that's a significantly smaller man moving a mountain at right tackle. And Clarence Hicks, rightfully so, celebrates with a tremendous campaign in 2025. You just saw Clarence Hicks with the forced fumble. Well, he's been able to get after Bo Levi Mitchell a couple of times. Began with his first career sack last year with more. Here's Jermaine Franklin.
Got that right, March. You know, there's just something about playing the Hamilton Ticats and Bo Levi Mitchell for Hicks. Like you mentioned, he got his first sack. He liked it so much, he got us another one. And as a matter of fact, he had 4 sacks last season. 3 of them was against Bo Levi Mitchell. And obviously, he's continuing the tradition and the trend today as he got after him one more time.
I don't know if it's just the color of the uniforms or if it's the matchup on the offensive line. Whatever it is, Clarence Hicks, he even told you there's an inside rush that he essentially said to you, Suits, I got a couple of moves, nobody's been able to stop them yet, so I'm just going to keep using them. And you said, Dave, they're not broke.
Yeah, and he said, and I'm not going to tell you what they are.
Well, here's one of them, I guess. Well, slow play it.
In the rematch last year, he got 2. He got his first ever in the CFL, as Jermaine just mentioned, and against Bo, and then he got 2 in the rematch when they faced each other again. And I asked him, is there some karma going on here? You're going to get after him again? And he just kind of gave me the big smile.
And I mentioned Anthony Johnson Jr. likely not going to wear 44 for very long. Well, that was Clarence Hicks wearing 73, in case you're wondering, which is an extremely training camp number, which now he's leveled up to number 12. As BA goes back shoulder outside, little fly and die, and finds Clark Barnes, the Guelph Griffin. Makes the grab and moves the sticks into Hamilton territory.
Real good confidence building throw for Vernon Adams to have the protection he needed. He took a peek out there to his right and throws this deep comeback. Like you mentioned, almost a fly and die down the sideline, just kind of back shouldered him and brought his receiver back towards the football, back towards the line of scrimmage. That's a good throw.
And is that Barnes that's taken a knee for a second? It looks like he's holding on to that left wrist as the training staff comes out. And he landed on it awkwardly as he got hit by Amos and went down on the side. We'll take a break, step aside as they take a look at Clark Barnes. Which home cook has the recipe for success? MasterChef Canada, all new Tuesdays on CTV. Stream next day on Crave.
Are you allowed to use a meat thermometer?
I would need every tool that's ever existed to just make it through the prelims on that show.
Well, you hope that Clark Barnes is okay and able to bounce back. They're holding that left wrist. What an accurate throw there to the sideline by VA.
The wrist's a tricky thing too, right?
Especially for a receiver, but yeah.
As VA with time, they tried to chop down the offensive line. He extends the play and then is able to connect before Stavros Katsantonis flies downhill and delivers the boom as we go back to the Clark Barnes catch.
Yeah, let's look at that route and the accuracy on the throw. And this is the fly and die that you talked about, Marsh, because he's going to go like he's running a go route, and then right about here. Now that ball has to be thrown to the backside shoulder before the inside dropper can open up and get out there. That's how accurate, and the timing was bang on that throw to move the chains.
And in the CFL, if you don't throw that with enough pace, it's going to get picked anyway.
It's going the other way. Right? Absolutely, it's going the other way.
Coverage so good, especially on those wide sizes. Now Mills breaks free into the middle of the secondary, and he can't be brought down until he's inside the 10-yard line.
It looked like the Ticats defensively had him at the line of scrimmage, or at least had plugged the hole he originally wanted. It just sort of right there was the good kick-out block. Was that Dom Rhymes coming across the formation to get the kick-out block, and that's what Dedrick Mills needed. It was actually Philpott, I think.
Goes for a gain of 31 as Deshaun Amos chased him down from the complete other side of the field and then went for a ride.
Well, when you try to go for the ball in the strip, that's what happens.
And can Calgary finally finish with a touchdown when they get an opportunity? That's been the struggle here early on as VA hands it off. And right away, the Hamilton front is there and all over it. Reggie Stubblefield comes out of the pile flexing.
Well, first of all, I love how he just took control of this play. I mean, from before the snap, look at Stubblefield down here. He's getting everybody lined up. He said, you get over there. I'm going to take this gap here, and let's just shut this down. And he fills that gap in a hurry. That's taking a leadership role on a play and trying to put VA in a tough situation.
Stubblefield, we were told by Brent Monson earlier this year, came as advertised. They thought he was going to be great. He's been just that at his 51st tackle of the season. Vernon Adams Jr. looks to his left, dances through the pocket. Out to his right, flag comes up and chucks this one into the feet of his intended receiver, Jalen Philpott, and the flag likely going against the Stampeders.
Boy, Philpott must have been screaming for this football.
It's been
holding
major.
Calgary, number 54. The penalty's declined. It's going to be third down.
Well, let's take a look at the play. You see Jalen Philpott, who is wide open to Vernon Adams' right, and he finally sees him. Look at Dom Rhymes waving frantically, and then Adams kind of one-hops it to Philpott, but he was open early, big time.
4 options over there, just trying to sort through it all. And on the fly as well, with pressure coming, is Rene Paredes 3 for 3 with a long of 42. This one significantly closer. Hammers it through the uprights, and Rene Paredes, all of the points accounted for the Stampeders as they lead 12-6. Hamilton Tiger Cats, proud history of having some big play receivers, but it's been a little while, all the way back to 2019, since they've had a season anything like this.
Yeah, just 2 away, and it's 1989 Tony Champion. Remember it well. I remember playing against Tony Champion, and in fact, a lot of the spectacular catches that Champion has made in his long, illustrious career, Kenny Lawler looks very similar in a lot of them.
Catch radius, the body control,
tracking ability.
Yeah, all of it as Mitchell looks over the top. This one thrown into traffic and almost intercepted as Kenny Lawler watched on with that one. And maybe a little connection here. You had a decent seat for this.
Yes, I did. A long story here. We'll get it at one night over a beverage, but yeah, there's we decided to cover down on Rocky DiPietro there, and this is Tony. Doesn't that look like Kenny Lawler, though? How many catches have we seen Kenny Lawler make just like that? And that season in 1989, cracked ribs, by the way.
Yeah.
He played with that game.
This catch made on the outside here in the flats, and looks like that's Keandre Smith. making the play, and a great tackle in the open field as well to force the punt. But I was just about to say, I'm pretty sure Kenny Lawler is thankful that he wasn't playing on that concrete painted that you saw Champion make that grab on.
Yeah, that was the Sky Dome, early Sky Dome back in '89. The Hamilton Tiger Cats have been back to the Grey Cup 6 times since then and won it once. But played against DiPietro, played against Tony Champion.
Big punt here, and Eric Brooks, after a 42-yard punt, brought down the coverage unit. Right there to make the play. Tyler Chernowski always in the middle of the fray, but this one will get credited to Brian Cole II as he gets a chance to celebrate tremendous special teams effort at Mississippi State.
Yeah, and when we talked to Bo about Kenny Lawler and just talking about whether or not he was covered sometimes didn't matter, and there's not many receivers that you think that way about.
There's no penalty on the play. It's going to be first down
and
for Calgary.
I asked Bo to compare him to some of the guys he played with in Calgary, and he would not do it. He refused to do it. He said, "Listen, I'm not gonna rate guys like Eric Rogers and DeVaris Daniels and Reggie Begelton and then Kenny Lawler." But he said, I have this guy can track the football like almost no one I've seen, and he talked about that over the shoulder looking for a fly ball. Go Blue Jays! Fly ball at any time. Kenny Lawler is a master at that.
Aaron Adams Jr. throws into a tight window. Dom Rhymes knew he was going to wear that one, and he did, but he held on for a first down.
Yeah, and the way that VA threw this football was to protect his receiver, because he knew with Katsatonis in the middle, with Verisuk down there, that there was going to be some contact on that dig route. So he just drills it right between the 1 and the 5 and says, protect yourself. There you go. Receivers love that.
9 sacks, 4 interceptions for the Hamilton defense against Toronto last week. Not that kind of productivity right now, but plenty of physicality is now running right through that Hamilton defense. Once again, Dedrick Mills, when he gets the first 5 yards and the wheels are turning, it's hard to stop him before at least 15.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised that they're having success. Again, this has not been the issue for Calgary. Their running game has been outstanding all season. Dedrick Mills coming into this week was the leader. He's one-on-one with the free safety and Katsatonis there. He bounces outside of that and picks up another 10. Stavros Katsatonis leads their defense in tackles coming into this one.
108 yards on the ground before this carry, which adds another 3 or 4, and just 6 yards rushing right now. The average per rush, Hamilton 1.5 yards, and Calgary nearing 10 yards per carry. Thanks in large part to that man, Dedrick Mills, trying to track down a rushing title here in 2025. He has been a workhorse, but the Calgary defense has been doing their job, holding Hamilton's explosive offense to just 6 points here as we've hit the 3-minute warning.
Coming up at the half, Milt's going to give a little love to VA. Enoch has been working tirelessly on a project.
How are you looking this? How you think you're looking today, Kay?
I think I look really nice.
You said you looked great before that, Kay.
Wow. You want to go to the big board because you're dressed so well.
Whoa, what are we doing here?
Best dressed in the house.
It's too bad they don't have any fun in the studio.
VA on second down looks outside and almost intercepted. Flag comes up at the end of the play. And it'll be a hold against the Stampeders.
Holding Calgary number 54. Penalties declined. It's going to be third down.
Again, playing different position. Coker, who was basically just went for a ride there. Ramirez was coming off the edge and he just jumped on him and said, piggyback you here.
Well, did you notice Vernon Adams Jr. as well taking the always ominous 3-step sprint just in case you need to try and track somebody down before the pylon, as this is a monster field goal attempt coming from Rennie Paredes. 54 yards away and had enough leg but missed it. Off to the right-hand side, Isaiah Wooden dances through 2 tacklers, and he's brought down at the 27-yard line. CFL WestJet Thanksgiving weekend action returns tonight as the Blue Bombers take on the Elks. Catch all the action at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on TSN.
The Elks are still in.
Which is amazing, considering what the general vibe has been around the CFL. Well, Edmonton's an afterthought again. I get that, a lot of people saying that, but that's not true at this point.
That's going to be quite the game. Joshua Coker's got a challenge here. He's down.
And he was covering down on the missed field goal attempt here.
Yeah.
Always dangerous.
See 54 at the top right of your screen. He kind of cuts back, and big boys like that at his size, we're talking 315. They're not built to make cuts that quickly.
Yeah, it looked like he's
looking at that left leg.
Cleat got stuck in the turf, and when you are 315, that is not the smoothest of transitions, as the left tackle is covering down on a missed field goal. As we get a look as they watch over Coker at where the standings are, and you see that very important Y.
Yeah,
that's sitting next to a certain green S logo.
Congratulations to the Riders. Big win against Toronto last night, and that locked up first in the division. They will host the West Final. Who gets the semifinal? That's the next question. And Edmonton, as we just mentioned, still in it at 6-9. If they get the win against Winnipeg tonight, well, I don't even want to do all the math, but they're still in it.
Well, I love this week. I asked Scott Milanovic, what are your just general thoughts on the crossover as you see the West Division schedules and trying to sort out who's going where and when?
Yeah.
And Milanovic, and I said, this isn't about who you might play down the road or if somebody comes in from the West or all the rest. I said, just what do you think about the crossover? And in classic Milanovic fashion, he went, I don't know. It probably makes sense. I haven't thought about it. I've been worrying about coaching.
Yeah, and it's fair. You know, he said it's fair. If there's a better record on one side of the division, then yeah, they should cross over and make the playoffs. And there's many who think that it should be one big division and the top 2 teams in the league get the byes.
As you see Coker, that does not look like somebody who's ready to return to the football game.
No.
So a shuffle coming to the Calgary offensive line after a missed field goal. Causes an injury to the left tackle. A quick little throw goes for a gain of 3 yards on the play. But they only dressed 6 offensive line. So Thomas Jack Cardilla, the former Edmonton Elk draft pick, 4th overall, likely going to get into the fray somewhere here. Zach Williams has played a little bit of tackle before. We'll find that out when Calgary gets the football back. But yeah, they are down to their last when it comes to natural offensive linemen before we start dipping into defensive linemen having to jump across. As Mitchell looks outside, Kenny Lawler, and just missed that time. And again, it's Anthony Johnson right there in coverage.
Having himself a game, isn't he? I mean, it doesn't seem to matter who they put over there. Virginia grad Anthony Johnson has 2 picks on the season and has done a real nice job, especially on second down.
Interesting too. It's something we haven't seen a ton from Hamilton this year is kind of that, not isolated, but that wide receiver comeback, just trying to work kind of back down the direction he ran the route. They've tried to get that to Lawler 3 or 4 times. Obviously believe they've got something. The completion percentage would say otherwise at this point. As Constantinu, high wobbling boot. And once again, for the second time this game, Brooks bobbles it, now breaks. as Constantino's got to make a play and force him back inside. He does. And finally wrapped up, but tremendous opportunity for Calgary here.
Well, this gives Vernon Adams a chance for some points before the half here. He doesn't have to go into hurry up even to get it done. Big return for Brooks back on Labor Day. Took that one back to the house for a touchdown. His first in pro football. Had one in college, but it was called back due to a penalty.
So VA pumps and comes back with a little screen here as they try to get things settled. Casey Sales says absolutely no way and throws down Ludwig Choquette.
Just the way this first half has unfolded, the Ticats have done a pretty good job on defense of just holding VA in this offense to field goal attempts, including the long one that was missed.
And it looks like Zach Williams has kicked from left guard out to left tackle, and Thomas Jack Cardilla has come in at left guard. So that's the switch made with Joshua Coker out on the missed field goal injury. As they run the football, Choquette in space, bounces through three tacklers, and off he goes, racing to the end zone, stiff arm, and dives in for a touchdown. What a run by the rookie.
All the juggling up front for the Calgary offensive line, and they step up and get it done. Preston Nichols is going to start things off from the right tackle spot. He's going to get a down block that Choquette just cuts off of, and then a couple of broken tackles, and away he goes with some great speed to finish the run. But there's some outstanding blocking at the line of scrimmage.
And they will go for two as Ludwig Choquette, his longest run of the season previously was 32. That one goes for 44 yards. And the major, which is also his first in the Canadian Football League. Welcome to the end zone in the big show. And a 6th round draft pick paying dividends is Jezrin Antwi still out with injury.
We're just making sure we have the correct football here.
And with 1:19 remaining, Hamilton fans on a beautiful day, 14 degrees, very little wind to speak of, in a little bit of shock right now. Potentially down 20-6 after the 2-point. We'll see what VA's got. Little sprint down out the back door. Quincy Vaughn, and why not? Goes to another rookie whose brother used to play for the Hamilton Tiger Cats and still lives in the area. So that one's sweet for Quincy.
Well, let's go back to the touchdown run first. That was a great design play in the red zone, but let's go back to this one here. First of all, Zach Williams on the one-on-one block right in front of him. That's huge. Fortin's going to come down here. He's going to take any scraping linebackers or D linemen. You got Jalen Philpott at the top of your screen. He's got the kick-out block, and then the tailback does the rest. I mean, this is well blocked up front. Now how about this design on a play call? Like, this is something I haven't seen from Calgary all season long. Full roll to one side and then throw it back against the grain to your short yardage quarterback.
Yeah.
Love it.
After the injuries a couple of weeks ago against the BC Lions at home, Quincy Vaughn had to come in and play emergency quarterback because he was 3rd string right, short yardage.
Yep.
And the next week he was listed as fullback. They brought in a couple of other quarterbacks, and now he's back to being the 3rd string quarterback, short yardage guy. But now he's playing tight end and catching a 2-point conversion. He's doing a little bit of everything. No, Hamilton was interested in him in the draft as well. One of those multi-purpose weapons, but 155 rushing yards to just 6 for the Calgary Stampeders right now after this.
Yeah, that's the biggest difference in this game when you compare the two offenses. That there's great balance for Calgary. Nice run by Choquette on the runoff tackle. blocking up front, even with the injury to Joshua Coker.
I think Pat Delmonico was fired up.
I was going to say, guess what group he coaches?
Emptied out for Bo here at the end of the first half. Shamar Bridges catches it, steps out of bounds in front of Adrian Green, who had his 5th interception of the year on the very first pass attempt of the ball game. And 65 seconds remaining, and Hamilton with no majors so far.
Yeah, and it just, I don't know the time of possession off the top of my head, but I guarantee it's in Calgary's favor in a big way. Just haven't seen Bo out there a whole bunch. And it's very quiet.
I was going to say, it's not sure if it's because the offense is on the field or just the general temperament is now.
Oh, baby.
Almost an even quieter crowd, or maybe they would have got louder with boos on that one. Almost intercepted by Jacob Roberts.
Yeah, Jacob Roberts, who is in the top 10 in the league in defensive plays in general. And just what a great find and great season he's had. Switching in with Micah Tights a little bit. 7th in the league in defensive plays. That will be his 90th. It'll go down as a knockdown. He wanted a pick.
Absolutely. What a game changer that could be if he was running free. And a check down here to Greg Bell, who escapes disaster, but Moncrief does the job and forces the punt with 53 seconds remaining. And yeah, you hear a little bit from the Hamilton fans. A chance to clinch first in the East Division today. Not satisfied with the offensive performance thus far.
Well, you know, you get the urgency from Calgary for sure. So let's not take anything away from their first half, which has been textbook on the road for the Calgary Stampeders. However, Hamilton is flat. They've been flat in this first half, especially on offense, but their defense pretty well. And I think the fans are letting them have it a little bit. Defense did okay with holding the field goals, but they're starting to get tired out there.
Or maybe spoiled by the number of unbelievable offensive explosions this year with Mitchell to Kenny Lawler and company. Haven't had that many to speak of today, in large part due to the secondary coverage of the Calgary Stampeders, as we see Joshua Coker exiting the injury tent and on crutches. And with halftime coming up, I'm sure that's a note that the crew will be talking about. But I mean, even with Calgary headed towards the playoffs, that's
yeah, exactly.
That's an important injury.
Desmarais already down. Mentioned Bryce Bell, that he was out early in the season. I want to say it was game 2.
It is unbelievable when you go through the injury list, like Kyle Saxelid and the one-game list, like you say, Desmarais and all the rest. Just the number of key names at this time of the year for Calgary.
On D too. Yeah.
For Calgary to be going through, as Mills will add to his total on the day. Goes for a gain of 5 out to the 15-yard line. They'll call it 4. And I would think Calgary extremely content at this point in the first half and field position to head down the tunnel with a 26 advantage.
Yeah, Brent Watson's going to go in at halftime and guarantee, say, do we know our run responsibilities, run stopping responsibilities on defense, guys? What gap you have, make sure you're in it. Because that's been real lopsided in this first half. Calgary's winning the running game battle.
Vernon Adams Jr. takes the long jog the opposite direction. As VA 9 of 14 for 88 yards. Bo Levi Mitchell 12 of 19 for 97 yards. Ludwig Choquette, tremendous opportunity to get into the end zone for the first time in his CFL career, and a career-long rush as well of 44 yards. He earned every single bit of it and finished it off in style, running through tacklers like Deshaun Amos, Devin Veresuk right there, and then a stiff arm on Jonathan Moxey. Yeah, you hang on to that one. Your first professional football touchdown. An opportunity for him to get some love from his teammates as Joshua Coker watching on certainly wishes that he could be a part of it. And with his first career CFL touchdown, Choquette is standing alongside our Jermaine Franklin.
Well, Ludwig, can you take us through the play? First and foremost, I should say congratulations on your first CFL touchdown.
Well, first off, I want to thank God for everything. And honestly, you know, we go through the week, we prepare for this stuff. So today it's all the team effort. We execute and then we just put it home.
Now, when it comes to the running game, you guys were running all over the Ticats in the first half. How important was that first and foremost? And second, how important will that running game need to be continued in the second half for you guys?
I think the run game equals toughness. So if we're able to keep running the ball the whole game, we'll be able to put points on the board.
Thanks so much, Ludwig.
Thank you very much.
Now let's throw it to Kate and the panel.
And Jermaine, that
Devin Verzek hoping that they can find a way to slow that down here in the second half.
Well, Devin, the Calgary Stampeders had a strong run game in that first half. First and foremost, how do you slow them down?
We're going to have better eyes and be signing our gaps and play good Ticat football. That's what we're going to do.
And in terms of the second half, how do you guys get going, not only as a defense, but as a team overall?
You got to come out with energy, man. It's a two-score game. Offense gets the ball. They come out here and score, and all of a sudden it's a one-possession game, and we got a football game to go again.
Thanks for your time, Devin.
Thank you.
Maturity beyond his years, both in the way he handles the game and in his playing style. That's what made him the second overall pick this season, that he knows the way to come back in this game.
Big first half for Dedrick Mills and Choquette. Big TD run by Choquette. And that run game dominant in the first half for the Calgary Stampeders, and that is the first thing that Devin talked about.
You got to think, like you said, Brent Monson got on the board.
Oh, yeah.
In there at halftime and said, they're in this front, here's what we look like. Well, this will help Hamilton immediately.
Absolutely.
Legal kick out of bounds. Calgary number 30. We're going to go up 30 yards. It's going to be first down for Hamilton.
And a strange one from Rene Paredes, always reliable, but I can't imagine he was trying to do anything other than place that one and just missed.
Yeah, I feel for him. I know exactly what that feels like on the first tee box of almost every golf game I've played in.
See?
You have all that fairway to hit, and somehow you miss it.
So Bo Levi Mitchell in the Hamilton offense with their 6 rushing yards will begin from the 50. Mitchell immediately over the top. Tim White, and he missed him. Just unable to get on the same page with Tim White on those vertical shots at times. You've seen the chemistry with Kenny Lawler, unquestionable, but with White, it's always a bit of a guessing game.
Yeah, this ball looked like White was looking for it over the inside shoulder, and Bo threw it to the outside shoulder out here, and now he's got to find the football, turn around, track it, and just wasn't able to find it in time.
You know that one stings, because likely that Scott Milanovich dialed it up to try and inject some life into the stadium. As Mitchell looks outside, and this went up in the air and almost intercepted. Probably should have been, but again, Anthony Johnson right there on Kenny Lawler.
Wow, this one is on Lawler. Remember we talked in the first half about sometimes the defense makes the play and gets the strip or the knockdown. Sometimes it's a drop, and this is a drop by Kenny Lawler. I mean, this we don't say almost ever. That 89 just flat out dropped one in his hands, and that was almost picked. I think even Johnson was so surprised that 89 missed it. Just not quite dialed in, this Hamilton Tiger Cat team, which is surprising.
Constantino sends it away. Absolutely skies this one almost as high as the stadium, and will pin the Calgary Stampeders for their first possession of the second half at the 9-yard line to begin, as we take a look at the dominant Stamps rushing attack.
So no Deontay Desmarais at left tackle. They had to make an adjustment to come in, so they move Coker over to left tackle. He gets hurt in the first half, and what do? They stick right with their game plan, the Stampeders, which is to run the ball first. Remember, this team, when they played early in the season against Hamilton, they had 158 yards rushing in that game as well, and Choquette gets his first CFL touchdown in that first half and 72 yards rushing. So that's goal number 1 for this Ticat defense.
Calgary can clinch a playoff spot with a win and an Edmonton loss Coming up later on as the Elks take on the Blue Bombers. An inside handoff, and they go right back to the well, and Verisuk making good on his halftime chat with Jermaine Franklin, just finding a better spot to slot in and try and get enough steam stopped from Dedrick Mills.
See Stubblefield right here. He started deep as if he was a safety, and Katsatonis as well. Look how close they are to the line of scrimmage. That's going to be something that Dave Dickinson looks at and says, listen, if they're going to bring those two guys, those two sort of defensive back tweeners down to stop the run, we're going right over the top.
There's almost 8 men in the box. Good eye suits. That was, they loaded that thing up expecting Mills to run into it, and he still ended up with 6 yards. So 2nd and 4. And they'll give it to him again, right down the rail. And a first down for the Stampeders.
So Vernon Adams, with that great running game, didn't have to, you know, put a cape on or anything like it. He just quietly put together 88 yards and went 9 of 14. And maybe most importantly, based on the last 4 weeks, did not throw an interception in the first half.
Yeah. Well, especially after the first quarter against the BC Lions almost a month ago, where it was those 2 devastating picks in the first quarter right out of the gate, and they were down 21-0 at the end of the first quarter. He'll get passing yards here, a little jet sweep. He drops down to Jalen Philpott. He does a great job running after, but it's crazy because you see those passing yardage numbers for these 2 quarterbacks, both great CFL quarterbacks, but Bo Levi Mitchell, the number of times he's gone over 300 yards passing this season. He's got a 400-yard passing game, which was Labor Day here against Toronto. You got VA going for 20,000 career yards as well. He's been playing at a high level, 5th in the CFL right now at 3,492 passing yards. It's the yardage today not coming, but it's just kind of one of those late season grinded out battles.
And with all this time to go, who knows when it explodes?
Oh.
It can happen.
As we know in the CFL, we hit the middle of the 4th quarter and we go, how'd they all have 300 yards?
Yeah.
They'll hand it off for now. And a great tackle on 2nd down and 2. Was that Philip Osai? It was. Known for his quarterback hunting, especially last week against the Argos, but the run stop here.
Yeah, Philip Osai has worked his way into the discussion for outstanding rookie over the last sort of month of football. He's done a great job up front when it comes to rushing the passer, 7 quarterback sacks so far this season and counting, and in his 2 different universities, in the entire time he was in university, he had 6 total. So he's already surpassed his entire time in college.
Yeah, I don't know what scheme he was playing in those 2 universities, but whoever was designing it, you were putting him in the wrong spot. He knows how to get after the quarterback. It's pretty obvious, but the run stuff just as important as this one. Kicks backwards out of bounds. And Philip Osai with an outstanding week number 18 down the road in Toronto, comes home and gets the all-important 2nd and 2 run stop. There he is, Frank Smith, former UBC head coach, long time, and tons of success with the Thunderbirds and passing away. And everybody on the West Coast, I know, Suits, you're in and around the area. You understand the football culture and the BC Football Hall of Fame as well. Great respect for that man and everything he gave as one of the great Thunderbirds currently in the Canadian Football League. Stavros Katsantonis spoke to us about him this week. Yeah,
told us that you know, his presence is immediate when you walk in the UBC gyms and you see the Wall of Fame, and of course he's up there, and wanted to send, of course, along with all of us, our condolences to the friends and family of Frank Smith, passed away at 93 years old. Legendary football coach at the university level, maybe one of the best ever.
Inside handoff here as Greg Bell gets the wheels turning and a little bit of running game life. Greg Bell pounding away on a little draw handoff, as now they'll bring in the heavy package on 2nd and 2.
You know, and only Scott Milenovich, only Bo Levi Mitchell know why in the first half Greg Bell was kind of ignored, and maybe it was they looked at the secondary for Calgary and the duct tape that Dave Dickinson was using to put it together and said, hey, let's just throw the ball at him.
Well, they get, once again, Bell looking more like he did against the Montreal Alouettes when he had a breakout performance that really set the table for the last month.
Yeah, and this is important, you know, and especially with Bo being that drop back pocket passer, to get that running game, get that balance. Look at the last 5 games. 550 yards and a massive, almost 7-yard average.
Yeah, 6.7 over 82 carries is no joke as Bo fumbles the football. Clarence Hicks nearly there to jump on top of it, but 19 got on top quick enough. Still a loss, though. It'll be 2nd and 14.
Yeah, I think this is one of those ride and decides, and it just hits the hip of Greg Bell. Supposed to ride that fake for a second just to draw the linebackers towards Bell, and then he's going to pull the ball, but the tip of the football just hits the side of Greg Bell's leg and bounces out of there.
Bo's eyes in that slow-mo replay say it all. It's been that kind of day so far as he looks to throw. Once again, Lawler curling in. Nice connection once again. They get it right up close to that first down marker.
Yeah, and they're getting close to the red zone too, and I think they're close enough here where Milanovic will go ahead and go for it in short yardage.
Dola Gala, I'm not even sure Kenny Lawler was off the ground yet before the short yardage quarterback was in. And Johnny Augustine as well comes in at running back. We saw them on 3rd and 2 at this part of the field earlier on. Just keep Bo in and throw the football. This time go with the more traditional short yardage as flag comes up. We'll see if that's offside against the Stampeders. Milanovic,
yeah,
unconcerned with the flag. He's already back into the call
offside.
sheet.
Yeah, no, that was offside.
The Calgary defensive line didn't give a yard. It's a 5-yard penalty, and it makes it a first down for Hamilton.
The first guy who puts his hand down, if he's not right, the rest of the line is off. And that'll be a free one with the 5-yard penalty. Get to the red zone. We talked to Bo Levi Mitchell about, is he going to want to force and try to get the ball to Kenny Lawler and get that touchdown record, franchise touchdown record?
Well, you told him what the record was. I mean, all of a sudden he said, didn't know that. Thanks for that. Okay, yeah. Good to know. As Mitchell
taking a shot,
looking over the top. Lawler, and again, one to the inside, one to the outside, just like the Tim White seam earlier on.
Well, we take a look at his passing yards all time. He's now moved into 8th place, passing our former teammate Matt Dunnigan. Played against Matty for many years. One of the best to ever do it, and Bo just passed him.
Well, I love when Bo talked about potentially trying to track down AC going into this season. I think it was back in, winter meetings and media availabilities, and he said, you start doing the math on that, and you go, yeah, no, no chance. I'd have to play for how many years and throw for how many yards? Big catch, an even bigger hit as Bailey Devine Scott laid it on Tim White, and he held on to the football. Another first down.
Milt, one of the great receivers of all time on our panel, he talked about at halftime how it's so important for a receiver's psyche to go back to him when he's had, some drops or a drop in the first half like Tim White had on that touchdown attempt. And to go back to him keeps that confidence level high, and he needed it because that was a tough catch to make.
Is it Kenny time?
That's what I'm wondering. It's up at the top.
Handed off inside. Greg Bell. About to say, be kind of poetic with the football on the 13-yard line, and Kenny sitting at 13 touchdowns on the season if all of a sudden you opened it up and chucked it over the top to go get 14.
They still have one game to go after this one against Ottawa. However, I want to wait till the final game.
Lawler gets the waggle here with Giovanni Robinson, the tight end, on the line of scrimmage. Underneath as a flag flies, they look for Lawler, goes to the corner. Easy money for Kenny. Once the flag, we'll check it out. But Lawler, touchdown 14 on the season, one away from the franchise record in your first with the Ticats.
Calgary number 44. That penalty's declined. The result of play is a touchdown.
And did Anthony Johnson just try to jump him at the line of scrimmage and jump him right offside?
Yeah, he jumped offside. I saw that, and it was either going to be offside or illegal contact, although he was within the 5 yards. It's a waggle motion to the right of your screen for Kenny Lawler, and then he's running hard on that curl on Anthony Johnson. Johnson's put together a real good first half, but this guy's hard to track. all game long. And I don't think there's any doubt that Bo down in that end of the field said, no, I'm getting one for Lawler.
Yeah, there's one of those little moments, whether you've played or you just love watching football. Bo Levi Mitchell turned to his right as he was walking around the huddle, said something in that direction, was obviously an ISO route. Turns out it was a corner, and it was also a touchdown for Kenny Lawler from Bo Levi Mitchell.
Marsh, you think this is called Charger? I would agree with you. This is a designed play to make Kenny Lawler the #1 option for Bo Levi Mitchell down at the goal line. And there's the one-on-one with Devine Scott getting there late. Now, he had a backside seam, so that held him for a little bit, but maybe a more experienced safety might have helped his corner out on Anthony Johnson there, but that's a play designed for Lawler in the red zone.
Yeah, that's tough for Devine Scott, right? You got 3 receivers to the other side. One of them's running a seam right at you.
Yeah, but if it's Lawler, hey, listen, if it's Lawler down there, yeah. I'm going with Lawler.
Yeah, absolutely. As Lawler gets another chance to celebrate. And the Tiger Cats close down on the Stampeders here in Week 19. Well, we teed it up for you earlier on. He was sitting at 13 tied with Evanston and Stapler, Winfield, and Brandon Banks. And, well, now only Tony Champion stands ahead of Kenny Lawler.
Unreal 89 season for Champion, and he might get it tonight.
Also, right side of the end zone, little corner out. He didn't have to backpedal and fall backwards for it. However,
yeah, very similar area.
Geography when you're talking about the champion catch. As VA pulls, gets a block, and looks to throw on the run, completes. Clark Barnes makes the grab. And full value on that completion from Vernon Adams Jr. 18 yards and a nice design from the Stamps.
Yeah, it really was. And it also good to see Clark Barnes back after that wrist injury he sustained in the first half. So he gets outside, well blocked, a little help on getting Vernon Adams out and around the corner by Jalen Philpott.
It almost looks like the training staff was over there asking Clark about how it felt. He just shook his head, so I'm fine, I'm fine. Yeah, he's good to go. Just showed that as Tevin Jones makes the grab and missed block. So Jones gets hit right at the line of scrimmage. Was that Jamal Peters that flew up and made the play? It was number 2. Always flying in from that boundary corner.
Yeah, you know, you got 5 interceptions on the season. I really like the looks of this Ticat secondary. When I look at them collectively with Katsatonis in the middle, playing with the confidence he's playing. Jamal Peters, Sean Amos, who has tons of Grey Cup experience. Moxie on the outside. This is a good group.
Solid from top to bottom, every position, and being led by Stavros Katsatonis doesn't hurt either as Vernon looks down the middle of the field. Jalen Philpott trying to figure out if he should turn around or not. And Philpott kind of adjusted to it, almost looked like one of those over-the-shoulder baseball catches.
Well, you know, we talked earlier about the wind here, and a wind can not only just affect the kicking game, it sometimes affects the throwing game, and maybe this was part of it. I mean, it was a tight spiral, so you're right. Philpott was trying to kind of gather himself, get the right footwork, and make sure he was looking over the right shoulder. Big play by Philpott after a big block on the previous down.
Destin Talbert kicking himself for not just playing the football and running right to it on that one. As Mills gets the handoff inside, drives the legs, and just when it looks like there's a wall of black and gold sitting at the 7-yard line, all of a sudden Mills is all the way down to about the 3.
So let's see the gap responsibilities, you know, and they go ahead and run it, guys, and then let's pause it here. Okay, stop it there. There's the gap that's left open. And, you know, it's hard to see who, maybe Verisuk needed to be in that one.
Mills gets another touch, drives the legs into the end zone, and Calgary on the road extends their lead here late in the 3rd.
They're still talking about who should have had that gap. But Versak said that when he came out to halftime to Dr. J down on the sideline, that we've got to be responsible for our gaps. We've got to know what gaps we're in. We've talked about this before, but the gaps are pretty straightforward. There's strong A, strong B, strong C, weak A, weak B, weak C. You've got one of those gaps, you got to be in it.
You can draw it up on a board, but when that guy is driving the legs and the offensive line is making moves, woof. 5 plays, 73 yards, and a Mills touchdown. What a response, the resilience of the Calgary Stampeders after Kenny Lawler gets into the end zone, and all of a sudden it's a 7-point game. Here comes Vernon Adams Jr.
Clark Barnes with a nice catch to get things started, and then the deep ball to Philpott set up 2 run plays to finish the drive off. Dedrick Mills gets another.
You know how much the Stampeders have leaned on their running attack. At times it has been frustrating for the passing game. The receivers specifically just trying to feel, well, I got to make the most of my opportunities because we're not going to throw the ball 40, 50 times a game in this offense. We got to make the most of every chance, but they have been getting the most out of that man right there here today. And Hamilton's defense certainly has to come together right now, as they are on the bench, looking things over on the tablets and trying to sort out how to build a wall in front of 26 before he can get the wheels turning. As Rene Paredes knocks this one down the field with Isaiah Wooden ready to return across the 20-30 and gets out to the 40, cuts it back and brought down as Bo Levi Mitchell, and the offense hits the field. Send it down to Jermaine Franklin with more on Bo and his evolving relationship with Scott Milanovich.
That's right, Marcy. Bo Levi Mitchell described himself as an old hand-me-down car when Scott Milanovich took over for the Ticats, and they had to figure things out. And it was a rough ride to start. Bo was benched midway through the season last year, but when he got his second chance, they figured things out. He realized that he couldn't break the rules of Milanovich's offense, and if he did, bad things would happen. And the relationship has grown ever since. Instead of butting heads, now they're more like 2 old buddies. And now they got to put it into overdrive.
Yeah, absolutely. Love that on the hand-me-down car. I've never had one of those real old beaters that's just got like 400,000 kilometers on it, but I think Bo's better than that.
Well, he's been better this year, and their relationship is strong, and he understands it. And the old teach an old dog new tricks kind of thing, and sometimes that takes some time, and it did. In fact, remember last year, Bo was benched. I mean, Bo Levi Mitchell is going straight to the Hall of Fame when he's done playing, and he was benched last year. And they had to figure that out, but they have. I mean, this is a guy who's thrown for over 300 in 7 of the last 11 starts. We talked about his yards, more yards coming in this week than any other quarterback in the league, more completions than any other quarterback, more touchdowns.
Well, I thought the self-awareness of him talking about getting benched last year was so interesting, where he said, I threw across my body, we're playing at home against Montreal, and Scott yelled at me, and then I essentially got pulled out of the game. And he said, the only rule is next week, don't throw across your body. And he did it, and the second he threw across his body and got picked, it went right to Darnell Sankey. He told us every single aspect of the play. It was like fresh in his memory. He said, the second the ball came out of my hand, I knew, oh, I'm getting benched. Yeah, I'm getting benched. Like, I immediately walked to the sideline, and he was like, well, I broke his only rule. I lost his trust. I'm going to the bench.
But one thing that Coach said to us, too, and I think this is an important part of that story, is that he had to understand more as to what Bo does well. And it was a collaboration. It sounds like when we tell that story that, Bo was trying to be, a square peg in a round hole kind of thing. And it wasn't that way. Scott Milanovich said, I had to figure out what Bo does really well.
A two-way street, no doubt, is now Mitchell takes his seat. You just saw Sean Peterson go to the sideline as Charles Wiley gets in and makes the sack. So some moving and shaking on that defensive line, and Wiley powers through to bring down Bo.
But, relationships aside, and the importance of this game aside, the Ticats are just flat. It's in all three phases. They're just a step behind in this game tonight, which is surprising. With first place, a chance to wrap it up and get the bye.
And Bo pumps twice, can't get rid of it. Now down the field, he has Lawler, got him at the 30, running free and tackled out of bounds inside the 20-yard line. I'm not sure if he saw Keandre Smith, who was also ready to score a touchdown, but Lawler, a perfectly acceptable option down that right sideline.
And one of the things Scott Milenovich also told us is that he loves when Bo does this. You know, Bo Levi Mitchell has been a quarterback that throws from the pocket, throws on time, reads coverages, goes through his progressions, all of those things. And he goes, sometimes I love when he just moves around, negotiates the pocket, and throws on the run. Because that's when sometimes you can make those big plays down the field, and they certainly do there.
And much of the year, Bo Levi Mitchell and Nick Arbuckle, the leading passers in the CFL, and that's kind of a running theme between both of them, is veteran guys who are looking at ways to evolve their game, and extending plays is certainly one of them as they get into that higher age ranges. Greg Bell does a good job driving through the first wave of potential tacklers and gets the football down in around the 6-yard line.
Markel Lee made a tackle there. He scores.
Yep.
He was gaining momentum, gaining speed. And Lee, who spent most of the year on the injured list, injured after the first couple of games, and he doesn't make that tackle. I don't like Adrian Green's chances.
And the question that we asked last drive down here, is it time for Kenny Lawler? This one would tie Tony Champion with 15 touchdowns in a single season. They'll hand it off to Bell once again. And stacked up and turned around. As they're trailing 27-13, they keep it on the ground. And Justin Sambu right in the middle of it.
It was a nice play by Miles Brown to just play the blocks in front of them and basically react to how the offensive line was just sort of sliding to the left. And the idea there is the offensive line together moves to their left, slides down to pick up whatever off-color jersey is there in front of them, and then Greg Bell gets to pick his hole.
So Scott Milenovich looking at the call sheet. They originally sent out Jake Dolegala, the short yardage quarterback, but this is the third and a full 2. And so down here, after deciding to run the football with Greg Bell, there was full substitutions from the Calgary Stampeders as they were answering the short yardage package. Now Calgary's having to run all of their regular defense back onto the field. And Milenovich already in the ear of Mitchell. And you got to imagine they're almost going to the 2-point play package, being down this close when it's a 3rd down and 2, gotta have it kind of moment.
There's Lawler in motion.
And they motion the big man into the backfield here as they'll try to lead around with Greg Bell. They go 3 running plays inside. Oh, and a flag is down. They tried to pound the rock with some creative motion. Jacob Zott, extra offensive lineman, was lined up almost as a wideout and motioned down the line of scrimmage to try and lead block to the left. But flags came up. And Ben Major, our referee, talks things over. And was the creative play design at fault? Clunky from start to finish when they tried to do something different here for the Tiger Cats.
Yeah, and it was a deep handoff, a lot of motion involved.
So Hamilton did not have an end on their right side, but first down was not gained. Therefore, the penalties declined. It's going to be first down for Calgary, and it's the end of the quarter.
And second turnover for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. 3 running plays when you got Kenny Lawler down inside the 10-yard line. Hamilton fans' frustration grows with that. 27-13, the score going to the 4th quarter. As they tried something different in the running game, but couldn't pick up the 2 yards. There you see the numbers. 27-13 Calgary leads after 3 quarters of play. Not that much different time of possession, although it did feel like for a little while that we hadn't really seen Bo Levi Mitchell that much on the field. The 2 turnovers obviously playing key, and the most recent turnover being on that last play at the end. Just a bizarre end of the 3rd quarter in terms of you've got all these great receivers. You got Bo Levi Mitchell leading the league in passing and 3 rushing attempts. I'm not trying to hammer it home and say what a terrible play call, but it's just interesting that they decided to go with that approach so close to the end zone when you trust your offense. And Jacob Zott, number 50, was the one right there.
Yeah, so Zott has got to be on the line of scrimmage to cover the right tackle, and that's just a rule, and you have to have it on both sides. And he goes in motion well before the snap and is 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage trying to set up a block. I mean, it has been sort of typical of the game tonight for Hamilton.
Right. And I guess the question there becomes, who do you trust more, Kenny Lawler or Jacob Zott? Yeah.
In motion?
Yeah.
I'll take Lawler. No offense to Zott.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure how many times he's done it. And, you know, it's...
And I respect giving a different look as well.
Oh, for sure.
Right? You got to be able to change the pace and down on the goal line and all the rest. But yeah, that's a tough look for a crowd that's frustrated with having the 13 points on the board. Super happy to see Kenny Lawler get into the end zone. And how easy did it look on the corner rip to Lawler as well when he caught that touchdown?
Well, you know, trying to get the first down first, I understand that, and get a new set of downs with a chance down in the red zone deep. So, and you're right, to change it up and have a play designed for that exact scenario, right. It just didn't execute it.
Well, they're working through it on the sideline right now, as you see, as Vernon Adams Jr. goes to work with a flag up, and this one up in the air, and it's a good thing that Brooks was able to dive his way back and keep it away from Reggie Stubblefield. Man, Stubblefield's been close a couple of times today to just game changers.
Yeah, he drops underneath that, has a chance at it after the tip. Looks like there's another penalty.
Offside, Calgary number 15. Penalties decline. It's going to be 3rd down.
Calgary, one of 4 teams with over 1,000 yards in penalties, and the 3 yards haven't really been specific to one side of the ball, as the defense coming in has taken 45 penalties, the offense 41 on the season.
You know, and the flip side of that in this game, in this matchup tonight, Hamilton's been excellent. Best team in the league, fewest penalties yards per game in the league.
All important, as we know, not just for field position, but also flow of the game, momentum. Hamilton will get the football back. Going the opposite direction now with their first touch of the 4th quarter, and they get it across the 55. There's Kenny Lawler in the offense, ready to take the field once again, and a special pregame set of kicks made by Clint from McFly's Shoe Rescue right here in Hamilton, Ontario, and autism awareness for Kenny and his son, and a huge part of the reason he is a Hamilton Tiger Cat and he has an opportunity to be in this organization is because Ted Kavaya really recruiting him on the basis of, hey, here's the programs that are in place in local schools for your son to make sure that he has the very best education and surroundings possible. And Kenny honoring that with autism awareness in Ontario today, as Lawler's teammate Tim White running free gets chopped down, tracked down from behind. And a tremendous effort from Tim White that time to get yards after the catch.
Good read and throw from Bo Levi Mitchell here to get it to Tim White. Something about the way Calgary's playing coverage-wise, that he has been a primary receiver for a lot of this night. And it's been a bit of a roller coaster for him, but a couple of good catches in this second half.
And again, Hamilton already on the edge of the 30-yard line here with Lawler running the short crossing route. They'll go over the top. Javani Robinson down the seam. And did he hang on to it? Touchdown, Tiger Cats. The big man, Javani Robinson.
Giovanni Robinson in a one-on-one with Jaden Grant. Goes up and rips it down from the high point and hangs on. I don't think that ever touches the turf.
Wow.
He's working on it. He's got it on the back of the helmet. Wow. And there it is. Secured.
Well, the hidden backstory to this is you saw the look on Bo Levi Mitchell's face saying, what?
That's a
what?
Catch.
Because it was a fantastic catch, but he also said, I threw a seam in practice the other day to Giovanni Robinson. And it was like, well, you know, maybe we don't need to do that because it's dangerous. And, you know, Giovanni's not the most experienced guy of running directly down the seam. And it turns out Giovanni Robinson down the seam is a pretty good option. You got Lawler underneath, adoring the work of his teammate, watching on for the major.
Early in the game, we talked about Devine Scott will probably come down a little bit more and not play in that middle, and that's where the seam is going to come from Robinson. So he's on the backside tight end over here. He's going to run his seam, and when Devine Scott comes down, stop it here, he knows he's got the one-on-one. Bo Levi Mitchell knows he's got that one-on-one to Robinson at the top with a height advantage, throws it up and gives his receiver a chance.
Yeah, Giovanni Robinson, former basketball player.
Well, this is a new hybrid receiver. I mean, Javon Catoy, Tommy Neal, Kevin Meatall, and now Giovanni Robinson as well. Like these big, almost tight end type guys, you know, that can block in the run game. You can actually play them as fullbacks as well, but they can run. I mean, they can get down the field and run.
You've been around this forever, and so the idea of the true tight end,
yeah,
right? Like disappeared, comes back, disappeared, comes back.
Well, Doug Flutie made it go away.
Yeah.
When Doug Flutie said, "We don't want any backs. I just want 6 receivers the whole time."
It's amazing the evolution of offensive football and how things come and go. But yeah, you're right. The big body receiver that you can use in those more traditional ways. But I just love, I mean, Nick Arbuckle said a couple of weeks ago to me the idea of, he's like, I love watching film of the Hamilton Tiger Cats because they're fun. They do so much different stuff. And he just, in terms of studying the idea of CFL football and using a tight end, he loves it.
And that's what Bo had to learn from Scott Milenovich and his system.
Absolutely. So Vernon now with a little bit of pressure. Back to a one-score ball game with 12 minutes remaining in the fourth. VA looks right, pumps, middle, pumps, and now will take off. Uses the legs, gets to the outside, the 45, and slides his way down before Reggie Stubblefield and Devin Veresuk can get to him.
There's been times when VA has had either Philpott or Dedrick Mills on a little swing out of the backfield, and he's elected not to go out there to him. Looks like he's at times looking for something bigger, and then the pocket disappears on him.
Ironic because the other team in Alberta that is playing later on tonight, Cody Fajardo, if he sees an open receiver in the flat, he's taking it every single time.
Well, they've been open.
Yeah.
Open again.
Rips this one. And the 99-mile-an-hour fastball right into the feet of Tevin Jones.
And this is what I mean. I mean, that's an easy, first down throw, and VA would like that back. But watch this here. That's Dedrick Mills out of the backfield, standing right beside him. A little bit of a delay, checks for blitz, no blitz, and now he's out. Look at the room. I mean, there's been 4 or 5 times I've seen tonight that VA has had that and not gone there.
And so Hamilton ready to get the football back after the Giovanni Robinson touchdown.
That's exactly what VA's seeing. He's going, you know what? I got the back in the flat. That's a 20-yard gain.
And this one absolutely hammered by Bassett. It's a 54-yard punch with a solid return coming the other direction out to the 25-yard line for Isaiah Wooden. As VA watches on, waiting for his next opportunity, while Bo Levi Mitchell has his right now. Bo Levi Mitchell hoping to get the party started in Hamilton here on Thanksgiving weekend. His second half significantly better than the first. Obviously got off to a rocky start with the interception on the first attempt, but between finding Kenny Lawler and then Giovanni Robinson, and now the artist of many a fourth quarter comeback. Down 7 with 10.5 remaining. And a quick ball fake, and then looks to fit it into a tight window on the crossing route. Keandre Smith unable to hang on, and Bo missed that one just a little bit outside.
Yeah, he just missed that throw. But yeah, the alarm clock has gone off. You see a little bit more urgency. He has the crosser. Keandre Smith has had a quiet afternoon. Good season, outstanding season for 85.
Bo goes hard count, and the Calgary defense checks the line of scrimmage. Flips their look with 4 receivers to the wide side of the field. Lawler's by himself on the backside, and Bo's going to have to work that way as a flag comes down. And Mitchell has descended away. Declined the penalty, and a 2 and out here for the Hamilton Tiger Cats offense.
Deep in their own end.
Yeah.
So it's even after they kick and return.
Holding Hamilton number 69. That penalty is declined. It's going to be 3rd down.
Goes against Jordan Murray on the call.
Should reset too, just to remind the viewer that you're looking at a team that could clinch first place in the East and home field advantage in the Eastern Final in Hamilton, versus a team in Calgary that is trying to snap a 4-game losing skid and solidify their playoff spot.
Brooks returns the punt. Panabaker makes the tackle, and Stavros Katsantonis hits the turf here once again in Hamilton, as he was dominant last week. His first 3-interception game at the CFL level. He's done it before at UBC, sit against the University of Manitoba. He had a triple one time, but also grabbed a share of the CFL lead at 6. That's as many as he had over his first 3 CFL seasons. And he just tacked on 8 defensive tackles last week as well, which I love when you ask Stav the idea of, hey, did you know you had 8 tackles? He's like, I don't know. I hit somebody every play. So I don't keep count.
Season high for him in that. And I mentioned off the top, he leads the team in tackles. So they move him around, bring him down close to the box, or drop him back in the middle. But 3 picks in a game, that's a game.
No doubt. It was all over. Whatever Jarrett Daggy was giving off as signs as Jalen Philpott gets the end around. For a gain of 5 yards on first down. But yeah, Katsantonis running the back end has been hugely important to the consistency of this defense.
Well, and he gets them lined up right. Make sure he knows everybody's responsibility. That just doesn't include the back end either. That includes linebackers, D-line. So anyone turns around and says, what do I got? They expect the safety to understand it. He knows Brett's defense. They've got it figured out. And like I said earlier, this is a secondary that looks like it could be a championship level group.
Vernon Adams Jr. on 2nd and 6. Gets it away into the flats. Brooks catches it. Nobody around. Crosses the 45, 40, 35. Pushed out of bounds by Jonathan Moxey.
Full pressure coming from Hamilton here, trying to get a little bit more, get the ball out of VA's hands as quickly as it can, get a little more pressure on the quarterback, collapse the pocket. It's picked up pretty nicely, just long enough to get VA out there to Brooks. That flat route just not enough cover guys to get out there.
Brooks playing a larger role on offense this year, really just a return specialist. But after Reggie Beggleton went down, he had some emergency duty. Is now the Hamilton defense. Julian Hauser, just an absolute monster of a game last week against Toronto. Haven't been able to say his name much against his former team, as he's back with his former team here in Hamilton.
Well, yeah, and Julian Hauser just is going to be patient with this play. He steps up, he takes the inside pull and guard and takes on that hit, and then make sure he's wide enough until his friends come. So here's Hauser. Make sure you get the outside shade, be patient with it, don't have to pull him down right away, because if he makes Hauser miss, he's open on the outside.
Crowd noise is in on 2nd and 13. Vernon to the outside. Jalen Philpott. Oh, Stavros Katsantonis. The pads are popping.
Whoa. We are way up here in Hamilton. We heard that up here. Oh, man.
I could hear Stavros having some fun with it at the end of the play as well, as he came down from that free safety spot the whole way, just picking his spot, and when he found it, he delivered. As Philpott taking a breather.
Yeah, I think the training staff saw it too and came out immediately to take a look. Hope that he's okay, but that's a downhill hit. He's going to be fine.
Yeah, and Jalen heads back to the sideline, but Katsantonis is one of those people that kind of calm and kind of quirky and funny and nice to have a conversation with all the, and then he delivers a hit like that and you go, what? You have that kind of mean in you?
Well,
where's that hiding?
Yeah, and he's got that business as usual look on the bench there.
Just another day in the office, flying down from free safety. A big triple to make this a 2-score game for Rene Paredes. It was a late hold getting it down. Bassett did a good job as a little smile between Rene Paredes and his holder. It's not the smoothest operation, but up by 10 once again here in the Hammer. Get ready for NFL Sunday Night Football as the Lions go up against the Chiefs. Tune in tomorrow, 8:20 Eastern, 5:20 Pacific on TSN and CTV. The 4-1 Detroit Lions.
Alliance versus Taylor's fiance's team. Got it.
Well, last Sunday night, I was just distraught sitting around watching a team that wasn't wearing the correct uniforms play awfully against the New England Patriots. What was that from the Bills last Sunday night? Oh, my goodness. Couldn't put it together.
You're okay. He'll be back.
I'm not too concerned. It's all good. As Bo Levi Mitchell rips it to the outside again, that little comeback to Kenny Lawler started to work better and better for them as the game has gone on. It's kind of been in line with Bo Levi Mitchell's numbers improving.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier on that comeback and that they were working on it early in the game and weren't hooking up with it. This was a throw and a play that getting Kenny Lawler come back to the football a little bit more, back to the line of scrimmage.
Timing and rhythm throw, right? And Bo more on time as of late, but now pulled down from behind, and is it Charles Wiley with his second of the ball game?
Wiley's just another bull rush. Saw a very similar sack by Clarence Hicks in the first half, just almost exactly the same from the opposite side. Straight bull rush right into Bo Levi Mitchell.
Had 2 sacks on the season coming in. He's doubled it here today with 2 on the afternoon. Again, back to the comeback. Lawler turns around and crosses the 50-yard line to get the first down. Anthony Johnson down in a little bit of pain.
This Calgary defensive backfield anyway, has been hanging in there. But Lawler again takes that extra couple of steps back towards the line of scrimmage, gets separation, and then makes the catch, gets the first down after.
Some obvious discomfort for 44 on the sideline.
Another big game for Lawler.
So he steps out. Alani Robinson replaces him in the boundary as Keandre Smith catches this one, tries to turn and make a man miss, but Kyle Wilson does a great job tracking him down from behind.
Down by 10, need 2 scores. Every drive you're looking for a major first, obviously, but decision making so important for coach and quarterback when you're down 2 scores.
Blitz on from Mitchell's right. He'll throw that direction. Shamar Bridges, bit of an awkward one, but catch is made short of the marker. As Adrian Green there to get credited for the tackle, and it'll be About a yard to go.
Yeah, it's a long yard too. It's a full yard to go. And when you consider that short yard has been a bit of an adventure for Hamilton tonight in the second half. This afternoon early it was, you know, they were fine, but in the second half they've had a couple of issues in short yardage.
Milanovic, finger on the trigger there, calling things in as Mitchell stands in. They substituted a whole whack of players again on and then off the field. Calgary has the chance to do the same before they whistle it in, as they do now. 3rd and a full 1, and they're going to trust Bo Levi Mitchell to stand in the shotgun, or will they? Time Calgary.
Calgary.
Dave Dickinson waited till he saw what they were going to do offensively before calling that timeout. It looked like they had the right number of players on, although the D line almost looked casual, as if they weren't quite certain they had the right setup.
But yeah, savvy to burn that timeout, because you lose it if you go beyond the 3-minute warning, but also being able to do that and get the added advantage, like you say, of seeing exactly what you want.
And seeing the offensive set.
And the question now as an offensive play caller is always, do you love it so much you go right back to it?
Or do you change it up?
Or do you go, damn, they caught us. All right, yeah, I got to switch this. Tim White in motion across the line. Kenny Lawler all by himself. It gets tipped. And they went to Lawler on 3rd and 1. But a man flew out underneath and made the play. Jaden Grant.
Well, it's a great play by Jaden Grant. He just is dropping in his zone, and he undercuts this throw. But you look at the decision to throw in a one receiver set. Like Lawler was by himself to the wide field and outnumbered defensively. So there's an underneath coverage. There's a guy over top of him as well. And I just wonder about the confidence level in short yardage right now of Scott Milanovic. He's over there looking at, hey, we didn't get it on 3 tries down near the goal line. I'm going to throw it.
It almost feels like Milanovic is a play caller in that spot. You know, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. It's you're right or you're wrong. Run it 3 times, don't get in. So you say, you know what? This time we're going to Lawler. And unfortunately, it didn't work out thanks to that man. Jaden Grant makes the big play here as we've hit the 3-minute warning. Scott Milanovic watching on as Jaden Grant continues to get congratulations on his high pointing of the football, knocking it away. And the Tiger Cats with work to be done inside the 3-minute warning. Always anything possible. Down 10. And Calgary with possession. VA loads it up and rips it down the middle of the field. And it's Brooks. Caught it running free inside the 20. Stiff arm at the 10. And Calgary's inside the 5-yard line. Big play. VA strikes at the moment they needed it the most for 69 yards.
Well, you know, we talked about it, and many times I think, you know, sometimes it's not fair to say from up here that he should throw a swing when it's open all the time. They have the swing out there open again to Jedrick Mills, and this is why Vernon Adams has been looking for that deep ball down the field, because it's been there. He's been waiting for this opportunity, and he gets a shot and makes it happen. So in fairness, that's why sometimes they don't take the check down or the swing from the running back.
What a route from Brooks. Again, one of those almost like Brandon Banks, thinking of being here in Hamilton, of a guy who's a Turner turned receiver. Beautiful route as Vernon hands it off. And D-Train Mills plunges forward. No signal yet right there at the goal line. And touchdown. The Calgary Stampeders.
The ruling on the field's a touchdown.
Sending a message here on the road in week 19.
And is this an indication? Is this the #1 indicator based on that deep ball from Vernon Adams that he's back? You got a good running game going. talked about the last 2 weeks and his confidence level and where it's been. He was very open and honest. Some people thought that was not a good thing. Some people thought it was refreshing and great to have his teammates rally around it. And I think the A game for VA may be back.
Well, I think CFL fans coast to coast headed down the stretch and towards the playoffs would love nothing more than to see Vernon Adams Jr. at his high-flying best, and certainly that throw right down the middle of the field was exactly that.
Well, he's been doing this during the game where I just thought at times that check down has been there, but Brooks in behind coverage, he's clearly seen something and has been looking for this, waiting for this opportunity, and finally it comes and he's got the protection. Here's the touchdown to wrap it up, and the big push. Late call on the touchdown signal, but that ball has crossed the plane.
VA starting the last 7 games for Calgary. They're 3-4 in that span, trying to get back to 500 football over the last 8 with his starting after a 5-2 start to the season.
And I know exactly what he's going to say. He's going to say, Glenn, I didn't take the check down to Dedrick Mills because I had the deep ball to Eric Brooks. How about that? I hear you, VA.
Well, currently, after that bomb, he's got 257 yards passing. Needs 318 to become the 39th player in CFL history to reach 20,000. So Vernon on his way. If he doesn't get it here today, certainly will get it before the completion of the 2025 regular season. As Hamilton down 17. Gets a return here from Jonathan Moxie.
CFL Thanksgiving weekend on TSN is brought to you in part by WestJet. WestJet, the official airline of the CFL, and where your story takes off.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving weekend.
Absolutely.
Everybody watching, be in Montreal for turkey cutting, and boy, Montreal will be doing a little scoreboard watching here today, won't they?
I'm looking forward to seeing Davis Alexander in that pressure cooker of an environment on Thanksgiving against the Red Blacks. That's going to be a great game coming up on Monday. As Keandre Smith to grab.
Montreal's back in the fight for first place. I mean, this was the opportunity for Hamilton to lock it down and get that bye to the final. So important. Saskatchewan did it last night. They sealed the deal. Scott Milenovich and his group had a chance tonight. And unless something really crazy happens, we're going to have to wait another week.
As Mitchell completes, Tim White at the 50, crosses the 55, and Tim wants to go for a longer run to the outside, goes backwards to go forwards, but nothing doing there. As Hamilton still has the tiebreaker against the Alouettes, obviously, but Milenovich said last week before the game against the Argonauts that you can't at any point in this league expect anybody to help you. Nobody's going to help you. That's been his message to the team, is take care of your own business. Don't think anyone's going to do anything for you, because there's never a guarantee. And that's where they sit right now after what looks like the loss coming here. Across the body, picked off. Derek Moncrief steps in front of Tim White and locks it down. And Mitchell now with 2 interceptions to match the 2 touchdowns on the day.
Boy, did you just have a flashback to our conversation of throwing back across the grain and getting it intercepted? Not that it's going to unfold like it did last year by any stretch of the imagination, but you know, this team is Hamilton is much better than they played tonight. They're, you know, first place team in the division. Big win against Toronto. Their rival down the road. And you know, when you look at winning 4 of their last 5, and you know, that Toronto game, almost putting 50 on the Argos.
Well, and for Bo, I mean, having 9 interceptions on the season, he said to us that that's been the difference in his years. Are you protecting the football better than other quarterbacks? Are you scoring it more? He's only had 2 interceptions over their last 4 games, and he has the 2 here today. So, yes, he might have been setting a slightly unrealistic standard, but that kind of says how the day has gone. Just didn't have it in a couple of different ways today, despite some moments of brilliance, which you always expect from a veteran quarterback with arm talent like Mitchell.
Yeah, they were the second best team tonight by a long shot all game long. So if they did come back, they got it to 1 possession just around the 3-minute warning. If they did come back, it was going to be a miracle comeback because Calgary's been the better team, top to bottom.
Isn't it amazing what win can do for you, though? Because coming in, Calgary, very much the mood was, this has been a tough stretch, man.
Yeah.
Like it's tough, and you know we got to go on the road. And
injuries.
What's happening with the playoff seeding? Are we going to get a home game? All of a sudden you win, you go,
yeah.
Edmonton loses. You're 9-7. Feels a heck of a lot better than it did about, I don't know, 3 hours ago.
Well, and consider the makeshift secondary. Guys playing in their first game in those positions made some plays tonight. Adrian Green started it out with that big interception on the very first throw from Mitchell. Another solid, well, better than solid running game. So the balance is there for, you know, and maybe most importantly, VA didn't throw a pick.
Yeah, perhaps most impressive, as you say, Suits, is the secondary.
Yeah.
Like the idea of just piecing it together. When we were looking at the depth chart and you see Damon Webb down, you just go, woof.
Yeah.
And then, oh, his backup's down. Woof. What are they going to do? You know, because Ben LaBrosse isn't back from the 6-game injured list yet with a hamstring. You start thinking, how are they going to piece this together? But man, they certainly did today.
Sheldon Arnold out. Lance Robinson playing for him. Tyler Richardson. Anthony Johnson playing for him for a couple of weeks.
Unbelievable. And the variety of contributions, right? As Ludwig Choquette gets the carry here. You start to realize just how good the Stampeders have been in a variety of different facets, and with Joshua Coker being down as well, right?
And Demery not available coming into this game. So yeah, overcome a lot of adversity here. Snap a 4-game losing skid, and all of a sudden are thinking, hey, we can host a playoff game.
Yep.
And there's a whole bunch of tiebreaker situations going on there, depending on what happens again later tonight, too. Winnipeg and Edmonton.
And in the wonderful poetry of the CFL, we haven't seen the sun in hours, and all of a sudden it's shining on the stadium and on the Calgary Stampeders. The clouds have broken for the Stamps, it seems like.
Yeah, this is an outstanding win by the Calgary Stampeders because of a lot of reasons. Most importantly, just their overall confidence. A team that started so quickly and so strong, were considered tops in the league, both sides of the ball. And they needed this one badly. They got it, and they're back in the playoff fight.
What a day for the Calgary Stampeders, and VA back on track. We'll send it to Kate and the panel after a tremendous afternoon for the Stamps here in Hamilton.